Welcome to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host. Feels weird to say that. I'm your host, D Money. As Jay is recovering from the Rona, we've decided to do a couple videos on our own here, maybe just this one, but we're doing a sequel, the video that Doctor of Stuff and I did a few weeks back. Wanted to talk a little bit about the VeVe market, how that's pumped so much, as well as some things that they covered in the recent AMA, as well as covering the Omi token migration that's going to be happening here really soon. There's a lot of really exciting things happening for VeVe. Doc and I are both huge fans of VeVe, and as such, I'll make the same disclaimer that Jay always does. This is not financial advice. Doc and I are both just kind of like VeVe heads who like to talk about it, so that's what this is going to be, a conversation about VeVe. Do your own research, just like anything else that is covered on this channel. So I'm not going to waste any more time in the intro. Let's go ahead and bring in Dr. Stuff, the business manager of the Crypto Rain channel. What is going on, Doc?
Not much, D-Money. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing better than Jay. I'm doing better than you, from what I understand as well. You're recovering from like a surgery, and then you had the Rona also. I mean, this Omicron, it seems like everybody in the world is getting it. But how are you feeling?
Good, man. Yeah, if you can't tell, like my left ear is like sticking out a little bit. I had surgery back there, and they kind of like pushed it forward, so it's kind of funny to kind of like look at that ear. But then at the same time, like right after the surgery, I got the coronavirus, man, the Rona, and yeah, like the whole family did. So it was brutal, but getting better every day. And I could not pass up an opportunity to talk about VeVe.
Yeah, you and I are always up for a chat, and you're always like real active in like the VeVe Twitter spaces and very active within the community. I feel like I don't have time to do that. I don't know how you squeeze everything in that you do. Just super passionate about it. So let's go ahead and get it kicked off. I mean, they had an AMA a couple of days ago. Now this video is being recorded. It's Wednesday, the 12th of January. It's probably not going to air. You're probably watching it on Saturday. And so by that time, the AMA, it's a little bit older, but I wanted to talk first of all just about like the health of VeVe as a whole, because they covered like some user numbers, like monthly active users, total users in the year 2021. So yeah, what are your thoughts on just the health of VeVe in general?
Well, it's going gangbuster, right? And far exceeded the expectations of what David Yu, the CEO, and Dan Crothers expected. And, they announced that they have 1.4 million active monthly users. And, they have terms that define that, or what makes a monthly active user, and then 300,000 daily active users, right? And that's substantial, and I'm starting to see that. Look, the last couple comic drops, I haven't gotten anything, right? Like, and I know that they do talk about bots, and in fact, in the AMA, they talked about bots and how they're handling that situation. I don't think I'm not getting the drop because of bot. I mean, these are like 30,000.
Yeah, 30,000 mints,
right?
Right, and if they're having 300,000 active daily users, so you've basically got a 10% chance, right? Like the drop yesterday, that Red Goblin, Spider-Man. I got one. We have a pretty just kind of tight knit, and it was just a common. I mean, whatever. Like, I'm stoked. Yeah. I'm always happy to get whatever. But like, we have a pretty tight knit community, just within friends, right? Where people that we've referred, whether it's family or whoever, like text threads, and you and we reached out to everybody. I'm the only one that grabbed one of those comics, right? And so is that like, oh, bots? No, I don't think so. I think it's, you've basically got a 10% chance on. I mean, this comic was not something that was really, like whatever. Like I'm excited about every drop that happens, but like this wasn't one that I was like, oh, I've got to get this one, right? So if this is just kind of like an average run of the mill comic drop, yeah, you've got a 10% chance, I would guess, something like that. if it's something bigger like was just announced today for Saturday's drop, the Invisible Woman from Fantastic Four, where you got a chance to get a secret rare, and those Marvel secret rares. I think at this point, and maybe you have numbers a little bit better, but like. I think the Storm is the lowest secret rare, and I think it's trading about like 2,500. I think the Captain America is up to like 5K. But then the big one is the Spider-Man secret rare, which is I think 55K right now, something like that. Or do those numbers sound right?
Yeah, I have not looked at the last time I saw the Captain America, he was up around 6K, but it might have dropped a little bit, but he definitely pumped. The Storm, that's exciting. I bought off the market and made sure that I got the Storm set. I'm a huge X-Men fan.
Yeah, me too.
But after I bought, like, all of those dropped even more. But then they've since come back a little bit, but yeah, then obviously the Spider-Man secret rare, that's pumping like crazy, up around 55K, which is exciting. And like even then, right, the floor is pretty thin before it jumps into the 60K range, and then even higher
to 70.
um,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
and that's one that like last week. I mean, I saw that at 32. Somebody pointed it out to me actually within the community. So the Crypto Rain Telegram, somebody just reached out and was like, hey, like, because they knew that I had one. They're like, man, your Spider-Man is kicking butt, and I had seen it at like 22 or 24 or something like that. So on Monday it was at 32. That was the first time I had seen it crack 30, and then here we are 9 days later at 55. Like, it hasn't quite doubled in 9 days, but like that's what the market as a whole, I mean, not everything has pumped that much, but like everything is going nuts right now.
Yeah, season one collectibles really are going up. I mean, the Batman Rizzo, which I don't have. It's one of the only season one collectibles I don't have, but that's gone up to like 18 to 20K or something. But even yeah, but like all the season one, the Nightwings have gone up. Obviously, the Todd McFarlane Batman, which hurts a little bit. I got a couple of Todd McFarlane's off the store right in March, which I've held on to for forever. But that ultra rare Steamboat Willie, man, I didn't get off the drop, and I really wanted it, and the price had pumped, and so I sold Todd McFarlane Batman and one of my Supermans. And now, granted, I got a pretty dang low mint ultra rare Mickey for it, but then right, a day or two after I sold those, man, those things have pumped pretty significantly. But yeah, that's just the overall market. I think in general, one of that, like the great thing about having diversified portfolio, right? Like you and I, we both have crypto. I mean, as we follow Rain's channel and a lot of the tokens that he talks about, which most of them are down right now. The crypto market as a whole is down. But the VeVe market is up, right? And not just like VeVe NFTs, but NFTs in general. Like December and January for OpenSea were massive months.
Yeah, I think I read that it was that I can't remember if it was January 2nd, January 3rd, but it was like the third biggest day that OpenSea has had, right? Since like the end of August or something like that. So where NFTs, it feels like it's, they've been out of the narrative, for a few months, and it does seem like a long time. Rain always talks about that, right? Like a couple months in crypto feels like a couple of years, and it's like, oh my gosh, it feels like NFTs haven't been hot for a while. But it is awesome to be part of a lot of different areas within the crypto space. Without diving down this rabbit hole too much, the next place that I really want to get into is a little bit more like play to earn stuff, right? Like I hold some of the Cornucopias tokens at this point. I'm excited about that project, but being able to get some NFTs that are actually going to make me money within that space, because I think that's just another place where diversifying your portfolio within the crypto space That's just another place where if DeFi isn't hot right now, or if we've talked about privacy not being very hot right now, even in the live stream today, people were talking about Soulbank and some of those projects, like where those things aren't part of the narrative. Well, if you are in NFTs, like if you are in VeVe, then that has a chance to be doing very, very well. While something else isn't in the narrative. And so, anyway, I mean, that's just something that one of my goals is to get into the gaming space a little bit more. So let's get back to the AMA a little bit. We touched on bots for a second, and they addressed it specifically about, because you and I don't believe, and I guess I'll finish off my point that I was trying to make, because we kind of went down the Marvel secret rare rabbit hole, but this Invisible Woman, now Fantastic Four isn't as big as, certainly not as big as Spider-Man. There is a huge fan base for Fantastic Four. It's unfortunately, there hasn't been a good movie like ever, and they've tried several times, and so it hasn't gotten the attention of some of the other Marvel universe, whatever, the MCU movies, but there is a huge Fantastic Four fan base out there. And if you look at the OG Fantastic Four #1 comic, that has pumped, not quite to the level of Spider-Man #1, but I think that it's pretty close to on par there. And so just bringing this whole thing full circle back into the bots conversation, when you have a big drop like is going to be on Saturday, and you don't get it, we were talking about a 10% chance on like a comic day that's just kind of ho-hum. I don't know how many how many users are going to be on the platform trying to grab that on Saturday, but I guarantee it's going to be more than 300,000. So bots are not to blame, in my opinion, in your opinion, but what's the VeVe team doing exactly to combat the bots that they talked about?
Well, I mean, and they talked that, like, I loved at this AMA that they actually threw out real numbers, right? Before they just said like, hey, like, we're aware of it, we're fighting it. But this time they said like, they have closed about 250,000 accounts that have been, caught in kind of that little net, right, of bot activity. That's significant, 250,000. And but look, some bots are still getting through. It's a cat and mouse game, and they're continuing to do that. I will say this. So they announced originally, put out a video saying that this was going to be a blind box, which I like that in general. I do think that it gives everyone kind of just this random chance of getting the secret rare. I do think it becomes more difficult when it is specific. So they did pull back and say that it's going to be like, your secret rare is going to have its own drop button, right? Like, it's not going to be a blind box format. Now, I posted on
I
their
saw on
post,
Twitter, you were like, oh, please blind box.
Yeah, please blind box. Because look, I mean, the reality is there still are bots, right? And those bots are going to target the higher rarity items, which does make it more difficult. Even though VeVe works hard at getting it, they can't get everything perfect. So I do like the blind box, because then the bots just have as much of a chance as anyone else of getting the secret rare. So I do think that more, active human users to get like those higher rarities. But anyways, yeah, we'll see what happens. I think until they do talk about this in the AMA, and they brought it up multiple times, where they're going to kind of like a waiting room drop system, which is going to help with the scaling as they get more and more active users, right? That you'll get in there, and it's kind of like this lottery system where you'll get randomly assigned this number, and if you're one of the people that gets that number, like, you'll get access to the drop, which is the way that it needs to be going, right? Because as more and more active users come in, that percentage chance of getting it gets so small. And so basically anyone who enters the room has a chance. And so they said that they've been doing some work on the back end. That's pretty much done, and they're just doing some things on the front end. But I would expect to see sometime potentially even this month, right? Like, they said they're going to try it out. So we might see one at the end of this month or beginning of the February. And they'll kind of see how that goes, and then maybe it'll go back to like another normal blind box drop or something like that before they really fully implement that system. But I think that that's what's going to be needed. And you see big NFT drops like NBA Top Shots doing the same sort of system, right? To give everyone kind of their fair chance.
Yeah, well, and talking about like as it does get bigger and bigger, like one thing that I want to kind of the point I want or a point I want to really hit on is that like I don't believe that this space like there are some ships where like Bored Ape Yacht Club, right, for example, like that ship has sailed like 100%, like, but the thing that's amazing about VeVe is that like I got in that Spider-Man was the first drop that I tried for. Like I'd probably get a bunch of hate mail and like comments and like, what, that was the first one and you freaking got a secret rare Spider-Man. Like I didn't realize, like, I was excited when I got it, but I did not quite grasp like the whole thing. But that was, I think, back in August, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And you had talked to me back in, like, I want to say April or May about VeVe, and I just didn't get it, as is the case, I'm sure, with a lot of the audience. Like, when you try to tell somebody about an NFT, I mean, the number of people that I've talked to about an NFT, there's only been like one person who has even known what it was, right? And it's been, I mean, I don't that's not like all I talk about, but like I've talked to a fair number of people, and so the thing that's amazing about VeVe is, even though I got in later than you, later than Rain, and later than a lot of like the Crypto Rain audience members, like my portfolio is almost 100x'd from what I've put in, and VeVe still allows you. I mean, just talking about this Saturday, and I do not think that the Invisible Woman is going to do what Spider-Man did. I don't know that it'll do what Storm has done, or Captain America. But this is an opportunity for you to put in. What's the drop price on it?
They haven't released that,
Okay.
right? But it's probably, I'm assuming it's probably gonna be
Like $80 or $60 or something
yeah,
like that.
$60 to $80, I would imagine.
Yeah, so it's an opportunity to put $60 into something, and then a few. I mean, at the very worst, I think that secret rare is going to be worth $1,000. Like, and it'll be pretty quick, and within a couple of months, right? Now all of a sudden you've 10 to 20x'd that money, and now you can start dabbling around in the market a little bit, and so VeVe is still accessible, where a lot of NFT projects are just not really accessible to the to the common person, so to speak.
Yeah, 100%, right? I want everyone who's listening, if you haven't jumped into VeVe yet, you're still early. You're not as early as some people, right, who got in at the beginning. Look, I'm not even the earliest. I got in March, and I was able to buy some Tods off the store, right? But I missed out on Rizzo, and definitely missed out on Donnie, and But anyways, like, there's gonna be, like, that's the great thing about VeVe, is there's so much IP backing that they haven't even released yet. We know that they have Star Wars, and yes, they've done R2D2 and C3PO, but you're gonna see other Grail pieces like Darth Vader, right? Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker, yeah. Freaking Han Solo. I mean, like,
yeah,
that world
Falcon.
Yeah, yep. I mean, even like, let's not nerd out on Star Wars and what that
sure.
could potentially bring. But yeah, I mean, those are gonna be, like you say, those are gonna be Grail pieces that people are gonna go big after. I was a little disappointed that I thought with the Book of Boba Fett releasing on Disney Plus, I thought, because a lot of the time, and that's what's so amazing about VeVe, is they do these drops as like part of a marketing campaign. Like, it's a bigger picture, where, like, I remember when Hitmonkey, that comic, came out, and I was just like, Hitmonkey, like, what is this? Like, and then it's like, oh, I think it's on Hulu, right, that there's this Hitmonkey series that came out. So, like, anyway, I was a little disappointed that there wasn't a Boba Fett drop to go along with the Book of Boba Fett. But when, I mean, that's another name, freaking Boba Fett, like, and not even to mention the prequels and episodes 7, 8, 9, BB-8, whatever. Like, there are going to be some huge pieces along the way. And so, like you said, I mean, you're not too late to get in and really like, I mean, whatever. I feel like VeVe should be sponsoring this video right now. Like, cause do what you want, but like, I mean, for it is an opportunity. Like I said, you drop $60 into something, or even, you know, $7 for a comic. I mean, I want to talk about, and by the way, as I'm thinking for a second, if you're liking this content, as Jay says, hit the like button if you think it's like an 8 out of 10 or higher. If it sucks and you're like, freaking Doc and D Money, like, they need to get off this channel, like, if it's a 7 or lower, hit the dislike, tell us in the comments. But I also want to hear in the comments, because we had an interesting conversation in the Telegram community. Somebody brought up the question. They said, hey, if you had $500 to buy a collectible off the open market in VeVe, what would the collectible be right now? And Doc and I both, I think we're kind of in agreement. I brought up the $7 comic and the opportunities that those can bring, to really just quickly, you know, turn $7 into 1,000 or something like that. But those are some of those collectibles that you and I would potentially buy for under $500. So just to kind of step back, I'm curious what people think in the comments, what you would buy if you had $500. But why are you so big on the comics right now as a potential thing that might pump?
So they talked about making your comic books available in the showroom, right? And so you'll be able to flex what comics you have in there, which that's part of the cool thing about NFTs, you know. I mean, the personal profile pics, like Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? Like, people have those digital frames that they're hanging up in their house with that Bored Ape Yacht Club or with that crypto punk. And we're gonna have that, and you're gonna see this a lot more in the metaverse space, right? Where you'll enter someone's house and they'll have all of their NFTs, or they'll have a showroom, and one of those is gonna be comic books. And people are gonna be like, "Oh, whoa, you got like the number one Marvel comic book, like the 1939, the first NFT comic book of the very first Marvel comic book ever." Yep, yeah, I got that. Oh, and it's low mint, by the way, right? So, and then on top of that, you have, like, in the VeVe community, and it's funny that you say we should be sponsored by VeVe. Like, the VeVe community is incredible, and it's such a huge base of support, and we're just like one big family. And so there's so many content creators that just talk about VeVe for free, right? Because we're so passionate about it. But you have a group called the Vaultaholics, and what they do is they create videos where they kind of go through these vaults, and they'll use the NFTs for different things. Like, for example, you might have an NFT that has like a base, like a stand, right? And then they'll flip that upside down and make it look like a table that people are sitting at. Like, I mean, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, right?
I saw one the other day where they had like made flowers, like it was a vase. Did you see that one? It was like all these flowers that were sticking out of the vase. It was incredible. Like, I can't imagine how much time it takes. That is not one aspect of VeVe that I have really gotten into. Like, I've spent a teeny bit of time in the showroom, and I was just like, all right, this is taking too much time for me.
Yeah. So to circle back to the, you know, and to finally answer your question, really, like, I think one of the reasons the comic books are going to pump even more is the fact that they will be available in the showroom and people will be able to flex those.
Yeah. So right now, I mean, that Marvel #1, I think is right around $300, like 295, 289. I mean, I remember, God, those were on the market for $4. You know, people just didn't quite get it. But I'm one of them. You know, I was lucky to get 4 of them off the drop, but I didn't put any more money into buying those. You know, I was like, well, we'll see what happens with these. But yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man #1, I think is around 100, 120. It fluctuates, but those are some good opportunities to get in. What I'm a big believer in that Steamboat Mickey, Steamboat Willie. I think that the uncommon is now over $500, but the common is still like $415, $430, something like that. And so that would be my pick. I just think that that's an unbelievably iconic moment in history. I mean, you're talking about You just brought up 1939, first comic book. Okay, all right, this is, and I don't remember the year on Steamboat Willie, but the first cartoon basically
Yeah.
ever, the
Yeah.
first Disney cartoon ever, the first Mickey Mouse thing ever, right? And this is not the first Mickey Mouse NFT anymore because of the partner statue in the Golden Moments series, but this is going to be part of, I mean, they're calling it, at least from what I'm reading between the lines, it says a Mickey Mouse NFT collection or something like that. So I believe that there are going to be additional Mickey Mouse moments that are released, and this is one where it's just like, even if they didn't do that and have it be part of a bigger Mickey series, I just believe that that's going to continue to grow. To where, because what's is the Todd a common, the
Uh,
rarity?
that's a good question. I don't remember.
I
I'm gonna
can't
have to
remember
check. I think
either.
it's yeah, he is. He's a common.
That's what I
He's a
thought.
common.
And so this is something where, sometimes people think like, oh, well, it's just the common or whatever. But like, and this is granted, this is already pumped quite a bit, 10x or whatever, not quite 10x as far as that common goes, but like, where Todd was $80 as a common, people are like, oh yeah, it's just the common thing. Well, now it's worth 8 grand, right? And
Yeah.
because Todd McFarlane is a huge name in the collectible space, and it's a freaking sweet statue. So that's how I feel about this Mickey one. Again, drop them in the comments. I want to see, because maybe there's something that I'm sleeping on too, because I have a few gems that are burning a hole in my pocket right now, looking for some things to pick up. So let's talk about they're about the localization of the app that's coming down a little bit, and yeah, just talk about what they've announced there and what you think that means for the whole platform, whole community.
Yeah, so localization is going to be huge for VeVe right now. I mean, we do have users from all over the world, but they're using it in English. Now there are some apps that can go and overlay on top of another app and basically convert it to their language. But that's an extra step that people have to take, and most people aren't going to go through the trouble to do that. So with localization, people will be able to get the app in their own native language, which will be huge for widespread adoption, right? And that's where I think, I mean, we're already growing right now, even with it, like everything just being in English. We're seeing like user base grow in all these different countries. So once it's in their own native language, when they're sharing with their friends about this, and they can look and they can read everything and understand it completely, I think that that's going to grow even bigger. And so I also think with that, we'll start to see some of these other collectible IPs like Ultraman, right?
Right.
Uh,
Like
that
Adventure Time, or
thank you,
like,
Adventure Time. That was the one I was thinking
okay,
of,
nice, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and even Powerpuff Girls, like those are really big in like the Asia Pacific, right? Ultraman, like for Japan, like he is the ultimate superhero,
Yeah.
right? Like I think it's like top five grossing superhero like of all time for Japan, or like, and in the 80s was like the number one superhero. So still very very big, and like we have seen the Ultraman's pump like a little bit
Yeah,
already
sure.
in the price, but I expect that to go even higher, right, with some of these IPs as the localization happens. So, just in general, we'll get a bigger user base. Like as VeVe becomes bigger and bigger, as NFTs become more and more commonplace, that VeVe will become a household name. And I think that localization is that next step. And they said that they are planning for localization in 2022, which is very
Nice.
exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the proverbial elephant in the room, the freaking MTL, the money transmitter
Mm-hmm.
license, because that's, I mean, that's a hurdle for a lot of people, and something that they've been talking about for, what, like close to a year now, that it's kind of right around the corner. So what was discussed about, like, I guess just updates in the AMA, as far as the MTL goes?
So yeah, I wanted to address, because you had said one thing about like the comic going from $7 to 1,000, and really it's 7 gems to 1,000 gems,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Right now, because you can't cash out, and that is something that it is coming. I mean, and they have been announcing it. I mean, look, David, you made a post in February or something. I think it was on Instagram that said like, oh, MTL is like around the corner, and then in August they talked about it coming, and then in December they said that at the end of the month, like they'd be rolling it out, and now it's mid January. So, like in the AMA, they did talk about that they have opened up the MTL to a small user base. My understanding is that the employees, um, and let me just address this real quick. I mean, when you run into money transmitter licensing and the regulations surrounding that, anti-money laundering laws, bank secrecy act laws in like the US, and anti-terrorism funding, all of that stuff, it's a very big deal. And so I think that, the team may have been or maybe misunderstood really what it was going to take to do that, especially when you're converting gems to fiat in multiple different currencies.
Right, that's
And
what I
and
was gonna
so
bring up. Yeah, just the
yeah.
Anyway, you're talking about a lot of U.S. laws, but what are the laws like in every other freaking country in the world?
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of countries have like anti-money laundering laws and like anti-fund terrorism funding laws and things. They might be a little bit different, but yeah. So there's a lot of red tape to get through when it comes to distributing funds, right? So but that is coming, and they basically said that they've done some small testing, and now they're going back to the attorneys and making sure everything looks good. Then they'll slowly start rolling that out. So I'm expecting, without any other additional unforeseen hiccups, probably with like in the next month and a half, by the end of February. If it's not there by then there's going to be a serious, like, I mean, we really need to get some timelines from them
Yeah.
as to what that's going to be, right? Not that I don't think it's going to happen. It will eventually happen, right? But this is a big hurdle. I've talked to so many people that I tell them about like these gains that I've had, and they're like, okay, so like, can you take your money out? And I'm like, well,
Now
you
that you mention
can,
it, yeah.
but it's kind of a sketchy backdoor way. That I like. I know that the MTL is going to come, and so like I'm not going to do that, right? Like, I have full confidence in VeVe, but I mean, there's a lot of people who are just waiting for that to come in. So, but I'm glad that they did talk about it more straightforward, and hopefully within the next month and a half, we'll really see that roll out fully.
Yeah, well, and you and I have talked about this several times, and I don't know if we talked about it last time, but like the partnerships that they've made, Disney, freaking Marvel, the United States Postal Service, like these are some big organizations that like I just can't imagine that the team was able to convince them, hey, yeah, let us use your license, let us use your products to sell stuff, and then we're never going to let the money out of the app. I don't think that has ever been thought of part of the plan. If you're convincing Marvel and Disney, to let you do something, like they definitely have crossed their T's and dotted their I's, so to speak. So yeah, I mean that's something that's going to be huge, right? And
Yeah.
it's gonna affect the market in a few ways, probably. For there may be a dump where people are trying to sell what they have to get their gems to offload some of that fiat, but like. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about the MTL for too much longer, or really for any longer, because we're getting long winded, as happens anytime that you and I even just pick up the phone call. It's like, hey, do you have
Right.
time for a quick call? And then it's like an hour later that we've just been chatting about VeVe and whatnot. But so I want to talk about the next big thing, which is the token migration, the OMI
Yeah.
token migration. Um, so they had in their Discord yesterday, the first of, I think they're doing four of these kind of like, I think about them as
AMAs.
like, yeah, but yeah, almost like a town hall meeting or something like that, right?
Hmm.
Where they're going to talk specifically about this. So I wasn't able to attend that one. You were. So give us the lowdown from your perspective about the token migration, what's going to happen, and then obviously with something like this, make sure that you're going back to the source. VeVe, Ecomi put out an article on Medium. They've put out a couple, I believe, where they're really outlining what's going to happen. So please go back to the source. Don't just take our word for things. But yeah, what's the deal with the OMI token migration?
Yeah. So right now the OMI token is on GoChain, right? The GoChain blockchain. They're going to be migrating over to the Ethereum blockchain, and then onto the second layer of Immutable X, right, for the NFT transactions. So they're going to be migrating that token. There are three places basically that you can have your token right now, right? It can be on the VeVe app. It can be on a centralized exchange like Bitforex, like Gate.io, or it can be in your private wallet, right? Like a MetaMask or a Trust wallet. And so what they have said is basically if your tokens right now reside on the VeVe.omi. Or omi.vv.me website in that app, right? Um, when the migration happens, VeVe will convert those tokens that are on their website app wallet to layer two OMI. And what the layer two OMI is for the staking on the app, right? To purchase, eventually to be able to purchase NFTs on the app. That will be the layer two OMI and what it's used for. If your OMI right now resides in a centralized exchange, those centralized exchanges will also be migrating the token, but they will migrate the OMI token to the layer one OMI token. And the layer one OMI token is the token that you will be able to sell, buy, and trade on the open market, right? And then the third place is your private wallet. Nothing will be done there, but what they have done is they've created a bridge, and they will provide a link to the website for that bridge. Please, again, like D Money said, only go to the source when you are clicking on links. Only go to the VeVe Twitter, right, and check and verify that that is the link that you're going to go to. But there will be a bridge in which you are able to convert your OMI tokens from the GoChain to either the layer one or the layer two OMI token. You'll get to choose, but with that, there will be a gas fee associated with it, right? And so that is something that you're going to need to have. If in your private wallet, you will need to have Ethereum as well as your OMI token to be able to pay the fees to basically convert those over to either layer one or layer two. And then once that token migration is done, they're going to keep that bridge open for a very, very long time. So you don't even have to do anything if you don't want to on the, and you want to keep it in your Trust wallet or your MetaMask, right? And you can decide when you want to convert that. I don't see any reason why you would want to just keep that there. Like, why not just convert that? But maybe you're waiting for gas prices to get low, but it'll be open there for a while. But if you ever want to convert from layer one to layer two after this initial token migration, or from layer two to layer one, you will still need to use that bridge. You will still need to, and so what Reese explained, which is very important, is if you have it in your VeVe wallet, right, you're going to need in your MetaMask, you're going to be connecting your MetaMask because they're going to need the ETH um, from that to help for gas fees to convert from the layer two back to the layer one, and vice versa. So,
But you need to have it. You need to have layer two in order to stake. I mean, that's something that's coming down the road. But to stake your OMI, it needs to be layer two. But then to be tradable, it does need to be converted back to layer one. I'm correct on that, right?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and one thing that they talked about, so a lot of people have asked, when I stake my OMI with layer two, will I earn the OMI token? Will I earn OMI tokens? Because in other uh, tokens and things, you can provide liquidity or stake, and you can earn that token, right? But VeVe wants to stay, and Ecomi want to stay as far away from any type of security offering or the designation of OMI token as a security as possible. And so you will not be able to earn OMI by staking OMI in the VeVe app. However, those centralized exchanges, if they need liquidity or if they want to, they could offer OMI token if you stake there. So
Hmm.
that's something to consider, and you are gonna know what's best for you and what you want to do with those tokens. I, for one, am very bullish on OMI long term. I'm going to be converting to layer two and staking so that I can get the benefits from staking in the different tiers that they're going to provide to us.
Yeah, and we'll see what those end up being. I mean, the
Yeah.
thing that I'm, most excited about is the potential land in the VeVe verse, and if you need to have a certain number of OMI tokens staked within the VeVe app in order to purchase VeVe land, I mean, Jay talks about the potential of a metaverse being like Ready Player One. And to me, with the pop culture that exists within VeVe, when the VeVeverse is released, I think that's going to be a huge deal, and owning land within that. So right now, I mean, if staking your OMI, if that means some priority access to some drops or things like that, that's all well and good. But that's what I'm, fingers crossed, hoping to be able to, that is what, staking your OMI will get you that reward, is being able to be on the short list of purchasing land. Anyway, great stuff. Is there anything else? We're kind of up against it, Doc. Anything else that you really want to talk about before we cut you loose?
Just two things, just addressing the VeVe land thing. Like, I am, if anyone follows me on Twitter, which if you don't, you should, Doctor of Stuff. But I talk about, and I've made several posts recently about metaverse land, and basically the opportunity potentially for passive income to rent that land out. There's going to be different metaverses that I think are going to be successful. I don't think we're just going to have one ultimate metaverse. I think there'll be different ones that are used for different reasons. But the VeVeverse, yeah, I'm very incredibly bullish on land there. And I don't think that staking only will be the only thing that helps get you land, but it's probably going to be part of it. But the last thing that I would say, again, and this is more of just like, there's a lot of bad actors out there in the crypto world, NFT world. And as this token migration is happening, people are going to be trying to get you to click on links. They might contact you, DM in Telegram or in Discord, which, by the way, mods of projects never DM you first. Never. If someone that you don't know DMs you, 99.999% chance it's a scammer, right? Unless you're expecting someone. So if you have any doubt, please, first of all, don't ever give away your key for your seed phrase to anyone for any reason. That should only be to you, or passwords of the like, right? So if you ever get anything like that, please reach out to the mods in the Telegram, verify that it's from them. But for the most part, when this token migration happens, go to the trusted sources, the VeVe Twitter page, or in the Discord, which I know that their Discord was hacked, and they've taken some extreme measures to make sure that something like that doesn't happen again. But go in there and just double, triple check, because when you're sending those tokens, if you get access or give access to a bad actor, they can take them. So just be safe out there, VeVe fam. And yeah, just happy. VeVe is great. It's an incredible project, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. So thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, no, good stuff. Thanks for coming on again, and yeah, I look forward to having these chats maybe a little bit more frequently. And yeah, man, have a good rest of your day. I'm gonna close us out with the Rainmaker rap. I don't want to veer away too much from what Jay does. I love this rap, I really do. The first couple of times I heard it, I was like, I don't know, but as I listen to it, it really does. It reinforces the principles. It helps me when the market is down, when it's trading sideways, when it's a little boring. It helps me to just kind of stay even keeled, stay focused. And rely on the principles that Jay teaches in the channel. So here it is.
Came into the space chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, shit, right before you're good, was told to buy when it was pouring like a Rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss, cause I always make the time in mind. I sit the one out cause I'm patient like that, and I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a Rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't lead with my heart. Principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, go parabolic, they dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a Rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a Rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. The time is never better, the time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to study and to know that nothing comes easy but when knowledge you gain show. Sticking out this road, cause soon will come a bear market. Learning and growing, and when it's slow will be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. I'm sticking around, the time is better. I'm strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time, the bull will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort, cause here comes the rain. So let's go Rainmakers, let's make it all happen. Let go with the hate, let the haters be crapping. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a Rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. This game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a Rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters be hating, the time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough, and that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a Rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.